For the crime which the defendant has been convicted in count 1, the defendant is levied a term in state prison of 22 years. The prior conviction the defendant has admitted he's levied an additional 5 years in state prison for a total unstayed term of 28 years.
Quite a fall for Knight since the height of his career in the 90s.
It's like this. Death Row is a black-owned company, and it's an artist label. So, we always like to give something back. So we decided to give something back to all the single mothers out there and let them come out, get their song, and calm everything down for them. They won't be stressing trying to beat their kids and shit, you know what I'm saying? Not really. Not for them to come out and enjoy themselves and really look for some new talent and let everybody know Death Row is open arms, got a lot of love, you know how we do.
There was always a lot of guys. When I say a lot of guys, I mean they would be lined up sitting in the hallway, chilling. You didn't know why they were there. I don't even think they knew why they were there. But Suge did give a lot of jobs to the guys and his gang member affiliation people. It was funny. They always had on red. Everybody had on red.
You used to come in the office, right? And it'd be a gang of dudes up there, Bloods. I can always tell they Bloods, right? Smoking Newports, where they'll pop the thing off, or the Camels, right? They pop the head off the Newport, right? And you could tell that they done just been in the penitentiary for a long time because they just so used to sitting down, smoking weed or them cigarettes, right? Talking shit. And then it'd be like new crews of cats you could tell fresh out the pen. Come up there to get a job. First thing gonna ask you where you from. And you bet not say you from an enemy gang territory. Or they gonna say you gonna have to run it. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean by run it? They wanna fight.
Suge Knight's 90s Blood Mob Piru crew consisted of the most notorious and ruthless gang members, like Aron Heron Palmer, Big Jake Robles, Alton Buntry Mcdonald, Mob James McDonald, Henry Hendog Smith, Todd Big Rock Chisholm, Roger Neckbone Williams, Wardell Poochie Fouse, George G. Williams, and many more Mob Piru gang members who worked for Death Row Records on different levels and were the muscle behind the intimidation factor of Suge Knight.
And so before you worked at Death Row, you were?
I was in prison for attempted murder.
And so Suge offered you a job?
Right. Well, when I came home, one of my associates took me to where Suge was at. Suge was about to go out of town. And before he got aboard the plane, me and him, hooked up. Because I know Suge prior from then. I know Suge ever since the early 70s, because we grew up 5 houses from each other.
Being in the office was just like conducting business on the street. Motherfucker got in the way, motherfucker got dealt with. If you thought you was gonna create a problem, you had a problem. You found yourself tossed upside down. One thing people knew about Death Row is they wouldn't bullshit and they would whoop your ass with no questions asked. If you stepped on the red rug, if you answered a phone, if you parked in somebody's spot, you gonna get your ass whooped.
Some people died. Some people just got beat up. Few people got rat packed. Like I say, people got disciplined. If they got in the way or the Death Row was on a mission. You couldn't stand on the low, the Death Row logo. Stood on that logo, you probably gonna get knocked out. And no telling who was gonna knock you out, but you probably got knocked out. You had a dog, Damu, Suge German Shepherd. His name was Damu. It meant blood, The dog would attack you. Yeah, it's trained. Cause the dog thinking you trying to get next to him, next to Suge. And if you're trying to get next to Suge, that dog is gonna attack you, He had a black tank built into the wall in his office, and it was dark. It was black piranhas. We used to feed them blood worms. He used to buy a big pack of blood worms and put them in there, and they just go crazy. You know, that he look at that tank and look at you, then you know, they was calm.
They were gangbangers. They were gangbangers and they worked for Suge Knight. So they was like Suge Knight's boys. So I believe, my belief of it is they did what Suge told them to do because they was broke. They couldn't get a job because they was already marked as gangbangers. So they took that ride with Suge Knight. And they accepted that $1,000. That $1,000 for a person that never have, for a person that don't have $1,000 is good a day. $1,000 a day to do some dirty shit to the next motherfucker, or go over here and drop this car off, or go over here and drop this bag off, and you don't know what's in the bag, but 9 out of 10, you know what's in the bag. Because you're not gonna f with nobody. You know, you're not gonna put yourself in a situation where you don't know if it's a dead body in a trunk or not. Some people do. Some motherfuckers don't give a f. You know what I'm saying? Because they be so desperate for this money.
They always blame it on Suge what everybody else do. You know what I'm saying? He did it. He always try to avoid everything, keep everything down. This is business. This ain't no game.
Mob Piru gang members like 32-year-old Heron see Knight as a man who gave his friends and family jobs.
I work. I pay taxes too. You know what I'm saying? That's right. And this is what Suge taught me. Yeah. I ain't never had a job before in my life until I started working for Suge. You know, in and out of jail, you know what I'm saying? Did a little bit of everything, you know what I'm saying? Now I'm, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm a born-again worker.
Inflicting pain on people was like my medicine. It was, I felt good. I truly felt good about it. I took pleasure into it, okay? I mean, just seeing the blood, how it came out your nose, how it came out your ears. You don't want to die. You don't want to die. These cats don't give a f if they do die. And I mean that like that. I'm not putting them on nothing, but these cats don't care. You know what I'm saying? We lose homies in prison, we lose homies on the street, on the daily. We done seen death. We done seen it. I held it. You know what I'm saying? I watched my homeboy Kenny Tubbs take his last breath. Like, wow. Suge utilized each and every guy that I brought to him. Instead of him being the businessman he should have been, he turned into one of the homies. Suge put on the red suit, the big rings, the cigars, and he just changed. And I say, some men can't take power like that and just know that they have all that power and be good. Suge took that power. He felt the energy. He felt like, just say for instance, going into a concert and you got 20 Bloods behind you. I'm the smallest one. Everybody else is I'm talking about like big. And everybody mentality is, if anybody say something to Suge, knock their fucking head off. And all of these famous people was looking and seeing Suge's entourage, and it was like he was Jesus. Everybody just started pouring away. And we'll walk through that crowd. And Suge, he felt it, but it was just too much for him. At the end of the day, it was too much.
Beverly Brolis, front center.
He had huge houses, he had lots of cars. He could come to work every day in a different car for a month and never drive the same car.
These dudes that Suge had were known Crip killers, real rough motherfuckers, ex-smokers, you know what I'm saying? Ex-cons, fresh out the penitentiary motherfuckers. They did not play. They overdid their job. And they robbed and they stole. They pillaged and they plundered. And I've seen them do it. One of their favorite things was this, as far as them being security for Suge. Their favorite thing would be to do this. Suge boys. They were thieves, robbers, murderers, rapists. I'm telling you, it was Compton's worst. And so what they would do is, he got a gun. It might be a guy with a big chain on, like a big old chain on, or a gang of jewelry on, and they'll point him out and they're like, oh, he got a gun. Next thing I know, everybody jumps on this dude. When the dude come up, he ain't got no jewelry, no wallet, might be missing a few teeth, you know what I'm saying, disorientated, and just left there in a bloody mess. And they would do that all the time. It was drugs up there. It was, drug dealings. It was like multiple suitcases with powdered cocaine or re-rock cocaine up in there. It was a lot. I've seen things. And I've been handed things,
The Death Row Blood crew was the most feared in the music industry at the time. Suge also had a cop crew working for him who was heavily involved in the death row business, covering tracks or helping set up certain situations that needed to be done.
It was no secret that Death Row Records was involved in drug trafficking. The big piece of this is the fact that we had police officers working in the organization, and police officers on different levels. There was actual security guards that were actually doing security for various artists, and then you had like these confidants, which I believe Gaines and Mac and Perez were part of that crew. They were willing to do anything for Suge Knight.
Anyway, I want everybody to give a big welcome for Tupac.
They were like brothers. Tupac is like a little brother to him. They had keys to each other's house. They think with one brain.
Tupac was already crazy. It just turned him up another notch.
I won't quit. I talk a lot of shit. Do what you want to do. Bring your whole fucking crew.
Because it was already going down over. He came to a company where it was already going down. So when he came over here, he looked like, oh yeah, I'm finna turn the fuck up. He said, I got these fools with me. They finna ride. Oh yeah, we gonna go everything to get in my way. I'm gonna knock it down. I'm going crazy. Because he was already amped up. You know what I'm saying? So he landed right where he wanted to land. And he already had an attitude because they didn't go get him out. The other people didn't go get him out. When he caught the case, Suge Knight went and got him out. So when he came out, he was gonna be fully loyal.
He loved to fight.
He loved to fight.
Oh, he loved to fight, yeah. He loved getting into altercations. Yeah.
Did he?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I remember the first night when he turned MOB, we was on one side of the studio, and one of my little homeboys, Ty Cuz, rest in peace, he went around there and looked in the studio where Dre and Pac and all them was at, and he ran back around there at us and said, Cuz. I said, what's happening? He said, man, Pac over there in all red. We went over there and looked. I said, well, they got him. And we went on back over there to our side. That night we went over there and looked, and went in there and seen him in all that red. That night he turned MOB. Before that, he was hanging with us all the time on the Crip side.
After Orlando shot Tupac, he went back to Compton bragging about it. You know what I'm saying? So we know who killed Tupac, for sure. And it was just a sad thing. You know what I'm saying? That these two guys brung gangs into, the Hollywood world, the music industry. You know what I'm saying? So it destroyed everything.
If you knew who killed Tupac, would you tell the police?
Absolutely not. Because I don't know.
Why not?
Because it's not my job. I don't get paid to solve homicides. I don't get paid to tell on people.
I seen it in his face. You can almost look in his eyes and see he's had this just a stare. Like he was so surprised that this happened to Death Row. So surprised that this could happen to somebody that he was like the chief of watch. He was the overseer. And that happened on his watch. And he already thought that he was untouchable. So it felt like when he got locked up, we were locked up. For sure we was. When Suge Knight was sentenced to jail, that's when everybody went to jail.
It was a fucking shame, man, and excuse my language, but you know, at the end of this thing, you know, Snoop is kind of like, he's like a duck, he's real cool, but underneath pedaling like, oh shit, you know, I hope I don't drown, you know what I mean? Same thing with, you know, Dog Pound, same thing with Nate Dogg, same thing with all the, you know, with all the acts. They all get up there and it's like, wait a minute, you mean there's nothing to actually hold on to? That's kind of sad. That's like, what was you doing?
People are still get shot for no reason. You know what I mean? Like, it's, the gang it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And I say, some men can't take power like that and just know that they have all that power and be good. Suge took that power. He felt the energy. He felt like, just say for instance, going into a concert and you got 20 Bloods behind you. I'm the smallest one. Everybody else is I'm talking about like big. And everybody mentality is, if anybody say something to Suge, knock their fucking head off. And all of these famous people was looking and seeing Suge's entourage, and it was like he was Jesus. Everybody just started pouring away. And we'll walk through that crowd. And Suge, he felt it, but it was just too much for him. At the end of the day, it was too much. You know what I'm saying? So it destroyed everything.
When Suge went to prison in '97, the struggle for power began in the death row circle. Suge and George G. Williams got into a dispute, as George believed he was underpaid and Poochie and Buntry get all the money and gifts doing the same jobs as he did for Suge. Suge demanded the cars and gifts he had given to G back, but G refused. Suge Knight was furious and ordered Poochie and Heron to eliminate George G. Williams. They kidnap and torture him and even shoot him, but George G. managed to escape. From 1997 to 2003, George G. Williams retaliated and eliminated the majority of Suge's Blood Mob Piru hitman crew. And that's how the story of the most feared circle in the '90s music industry effectively ended.